you do, that's okay.
Recording in progress.
I guess it's kind of like the bell for everybody.
Well, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Boy, you know, it's so interesting. Every Sunday it seems like I have 3 people here at 5 minutes still, and then by 5 after, everybody else shows up. Absolutely amazing. Welcome to the Positive Living Center. I'm Reverend Joe Bull, and I am your host this morning on this fabulous, beautiful Sunday morning. And I want to say hi to those on Zoom this morning. Anybody new on Zoom this morning?
I don't know.
Wave at us if you're new.
I don't know.
They just sit there. Okay.
Just say hi.
I'll take it that they're all been here before. Anyone new with us this morning, or hasn't been with us for quite some time in the audience? No, all veterans of the PLC. That's fabulous. The theme for 2025 is remembering. And the topic for April is sacred service. I look forward to hearing what all the speakers have to say about that topic. I don't have a musician for you this morning, so I'm going to have us all go into a quiet meditation to get things started. So get comfortable, close your eyes if you like, and just be still and enjoy a few moments. Good morning, God's Spirit. As we gather today, we're here in sacred service, as always. Acts of devotion and worship that are considered holy and dedicated to all of us, through all of us. Acts of selfless service toward each other and all mankind. Thank you for this time together. And so it is. We have a spiritual thought for you this morning. I'm going to bring John Lalonde up for that. John, come on up. Let's give him some love.
Well, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Just in way of introduction, sometimes when I am preparing a spiritual thought, it just comes. You know, I see the theme, I have a thought, I have a direction, and I just write it. Sometimes it doesn't come that way. Sometimes it leads to confusion, and that's what today's was like for me. It took a lot of, really kind of forced thought to come up with it. And so one of the general ideas is you talk about one thing in a spiritual thought. I am so sorry. I'm going to talk about three things. Sacred service. For me, I thought about traditionally, what does it mean? What does it mean to, what does it mean for us here, New Thought, religious science? And then finally, kind of the miscellaneous thoughts that I had that I found nothing in any of the literature I looked at. Doesn't mean it's not out there, but just some kind of random thoughts. So first of all, as a child growing up in a very Catholic family, sacred service was clear to me. That was the priests for boys, and nuns if you were a girl and wanted to be engaged in sacred service, that was to become a nun for Catholics. We had a priest, a great uncle of mine was a priest and present at everything, and the reverence, and he was clearly doing sacred service. The priest was the only person who could say the Mass, who was the only person who could conduct the service, the sacred service, and the only person who could be in touch with God. If we wanted to go talk to God, we went through had to go through the priest. So that sacred service, was more of a traditional orientation, and that's kind of how other traditional religious beliefs were. That the sacred service was a ceremony that was honoring a deity or God as defined there. And so it was ministry. The sacred service was the worship of God, and it was called, it was holy, it was reverent, all of those kinds of things. Another way it shows up traditionally is people who do extraordinary services for people. And so with that, think Mother Teresa, Mahatma Gandhi, and lots of other people, that those people were doing sacred service. Mother Teresa working with persons with leprosy. So there's some self-risk, there's a lot of selflessness to it. So that was sacred service. So that was traditionally. I wanted to look at religious science, New Thought, and I looked through a number of the Ernest Holmes books that I have. It is nowhere to be found. It's not in the glossary, not in the index of anything. Looked in some other authors. Did not find sacred service kind of defined there. So I hope you're not getting tired of it, but I went and asked Siri, who came back and said, I can't help you with that. And it's the first time she let me down. I think everybody knows Siri is like Alexa if you have Androids. There's a couple of other ones. voice-activated digital assistants, Bixby, Cortana, those are those kind of things. So I can't help you, but would you like to ask ChatGPT? And I have read about artificial intelligence in GPT, listened to a couple of podcasts about it, but I'd never tried it. So I thought, yeah, I'll do that. And so I typed out my search that sacred service from a New Thought or religious science perspective. And to my amazement, I had barely finished typing. I had a paragraph, 3 sentences, a 3-sentence response that I want to read right now. From a religious science perspective, a sacred service focuses on the belief in the unity of all life and the presence of divine within each individual. It often includes practices like meditation, affirmative prayer, and inspirational talks that emphasize spiritual growth and personal empowerment. And those services aim to celebrate the interconnectedness of humanity and the universe, encouraging attendees to seek inner peace and manifest positive change in their lives through the power of their thoughts and beliefs. So that's what AI says we do. And I think that if there was sacred service in the glossary of the Science of Mind textbook, it would say that. I thought that was just so perfect. And it just confirmed for me what we're doing here each Sunday morning is a sacred service. So the last thing I was thinking about was a lot of these definitions of sacred service have to do with the servicing of others. And I wondered, can you, what is the practice of sacred service for oneself? Is that possible, or does it, by definition, require it be for somebody else? I think we can perform sacred service for ourselves. And so, things like meditation, prayer, reflection, are sacred services for ourselves. And other, more mundane things like taking care of our bodies, taking care of our homes, taking care of our emotional well-being, and our mental well-being. They are a service in service to ourselves. When we live with integrity and authenticity, even when things are hard, that too is sacred service. We focus on our personal growth and treat ourselves with kindness and forgiveness and understanding. We're performing a sacred service that benefits ourselves. Mm-hmm. So as we navigate this precious human life, our services to ourselves are also benefiting those around us, our community, and ultimately the world. And what it is doing is, like those traditional definitions, expressing that divinity within. So when we express the best of ourselves, that is a sacred service. And so it is.
Very nice, John. Thank you very much. Well, my musician forgot that this was his day to perform for us. I didn't find out till about 9:20 that I didn't have anybody for music, so I thought, well, what can I do to help entertain this morning? I have an old song in mind. I don't have the words, so hopefully I remember them as best I can a cappella for you. So here goes. When you walk through your storm, Hold your head up high and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of your storm is this golden sky and the sweet silver song of a lark. Walk on through the wind, walk on through the rain, though your dreams may be tossed and blown. Walk on with hope in your heart, for you will never, never, never walk alone. You'll never walk alone. When you walk through your storms, hold your head up high and don't be afraid of the dark. At the end of your storm is this golden sky and the sweet silver song of a lark. Walk on through your wind, walk on through the rain, though your dreams may be tossed and blown. Walk on with hope in your heart, for you will never, never, never walk alone. You'll never walk alone. No, never alone.
Oh. Great message.
Goodness. It was a good message, wasn't it? I just about ran out of gas. Whew. I haven't sung in a long time, so that felt nice. Thank you for your support. Well, without further ado, I want to bring up our speaker for today, Reverend L.J. Bull.
I did cry.
You did.
I did.
My goodness.
Good tears. Moved tears. My job, from the day I met Joe and heard him sing, not because I was asked to do it or because it was required in some way, is I couldn't help but beam when he sang. I just couldn't help but beam. To know this guy didn't have any advance notice, hasn't been singing around the house lately, and he pulls that out with all that spirit. Whoa. Quite beautiful. Thank you, honey.
Thank you.
And it's good to see everyone. Hello. We did a little bit of chanting ahead of time. Kind of got the vibrations going. I hugged somebody and they go, "You're vibrating." I was spoken with by Bob who said, you didn't know you were that, huh? Who said that your talk won't be on topic next week. And it's just as natural for Bob to not be on topic as it is me to find everything that could be on the topic. So let's see what happens with this sacred service and remembering. Recently, I was listening to "The Answer Is You," which is an audible of Michael Beckwith's expressions, and he told this story. And this story was about it's a while back, quite a while back. It was a story though about he and Ricky Byers being in New York City. And it was they were finishing up some business there, and they recognized they needed to hurry and get a taxi and get to the airport because they were, tight on time. They told the taxi driver, JFK. And as they were running late and they noticed that the taxi driver was driving below the speed limit, they were getting a little nervous, anxious. And then as they were getting ready to say something to the taxi driver, they realized, oh no, it's LaGuardia. So they told the taxi driver, we've got to turn around, we've got to get to LaGuardia. And he goes, you told me JFK. And he continued to drive below the speed limit. And they go, would you drive the speed limit? He goes, you told me JFK. He goes, but it's LaGuardia. But you told me JFK, would you please drive the speed limit? But you told me JFK, it's LaGuardia. So as they were going through this, who's on first, what's on second, I don't know who's on third. As they were going through that, Michael tells us, Reverend Michael Beckwith tells us, those in the listening of Audible, that JFK was the past. Yes, we did tell you JFK, but it's not JFK, it's LaGuardia. LaGuardia is representing the future. And would you drive the speed limit is the present. And so as they were going into this tete-a-tete, it was back and forth about, but you told us, but we're going, but could we drive the speed limit? And then they chose to settle into the now. And so Ricky and Michael went into prayer, got settled in. So you can feel how we live this life with all these experiences of stressors and discomforts and all these things that happen as we're in the past and in the future and in the present moment, wanting it to be different and then in the now. As the story continues, they actually had a few more bumps even after they went into the now, because they went to the wrong check-in.
Terminal.
Yes, thank you. Terminal. Terminal. They went to the one they thought it was, but it's the one that's operated by. You've been there. And yet, they still got to the airport, got to their flight, got to their gate, and it was delayed 1 hour. And then they apologized to everybody because they were sure that getting into the now was what caused it to be. And getting into the now can change externals. Very significantly can. Doesn't always. Bob, you pointed that out many times and I've appreciated it. It doesn't always. But it does. Getting into the now does immediately change where we are and where we're birthing that next moment from. So these pains you feel are messengers. Listen to them. Rumi. Esther Hicks, Abraham Hicks, taught me a huge lesson, gigantic lesson that still touches me all the time, every day. And that is that, I'm going to see how it's, she says, that it's important not to have lead feet to either the past or the present. Now, she doesn't say it in exactly that way, but she did mention that she noticed that we humans seem to know what it is we want to do. We also seem to know where we want to go. And most of us kind of have an idea, at least by now, of who we are and who we're here to be, the nature of us to be. And, she said, we seem, us humans, to struggle with moving off the dime of where we are. Just moving into that leap of faith, you could say, that just directional going with, that we seem to have some challenges with that. But there's nothing wrong with this. Now is when we get to be conscious co-creators. Your heart knows the way. Run in that direction. Rumi. There was a quote I saw recently in the Science of Mind textbook, and it said, if we say with Emerson, there is no great and no small to the soul that maketh all. That reminded me of so many little taps on the shoulder that I've received from a great variety of people, great variety of souls, that have helped me to step forward. Just step forward in service, in life expression, on the spiritual journey, going with what we know is ours to do without regard for whether it is great enough or too small or small enough for us to manage. See, that's too small enough for us to manage. It's amazing the opinions we can hold about these things. And letting those go, just dropping them, and going with what we know is our direction, our to do, our to be. It's led me on some pretty amazing adventures. On one right now. Service is what life is all about. Great acts are made up of small deeds. As we serve others, we are working on ourselves. Every act, every word, every gesture of genuine compassion naturally nourishes our own hearts as well. Now, this came from the top 10 best service quotes from Jesuit Resource, xavier.edu. And of course, I thought of Angelo. And by the way, speaking of Angelo, happy belated birthday, Angelo.
Yes.
Thank you. Each one of us is an outlet to God and an inlet to God. Ernest Holmes. So sacred service is happening everywhere, all the time. It is in the prayer. It is in the prayer that is consciously spoken. And we don't call it prayer, but every thought is a prayer. So it is even in those unconscious thoughts, it's a prayer. I mean, we don't have to call it prayer. If we have a fine, a clean line of delineation that a prayer is a conscious choosing expression of recognition and acknowledgement, and sometimes asking for something, and sometimes declaring what we're ready for, and sometimes giving great thanks and being celebratory, and sometimes recognizing that, we've got this. No one else is going to live me. No one else is going to live that person that we're concerned for. They've got this. Source, life, the ineffable presence and back of life, the all good, the omni, There is no gray-haired guy in the sky saying, for you, yes, for you, no, no. Omni, with one of the greatest concepts that's been shared in New Thought. Omni, the fullness and the allness that could ever be given is right here. Peace, even in the midst of distress. Love, even in the midst of conflict. All of it is right here, awaiting our recognition. Omni. What a sacred service Omni is for all of us. This isn't for us to, this praying all the time can sometimes go, okay, there's a Catholic guilt, there's a Jewish guilt, there's a New Thought guilt. I know better. Why isn't it? Why am I not feeling okay? Why am I disturbed? What's going on? Da, 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 da. So guilt can be guilt. And usually guilt, for me, my feeling about it is, it's just tied to, it's a judgment on myself. Did I do enough? Did I not do enough? Could I have done more? Should I have done more? Sometimes it's I played too much, I feel guilty. Sometimes it's a guilty pleasure. But this isn't for us to become fearful about or concerned about. It is for us to awaken to and move in harmony with. The world, the universe responds to us, and we can do amazing things. It is what brings more radiance, light, and shine, and resonance, which I think of as coherence, or my radio station doesn't have a lot of static. It's kind of a clear message to our lives. So, remember when I told you about these inner dimensions of us that are the chakras? I don't want to be anything but reverent about the chakras. I mean, it's an ancient teaching. And yet I find myself talking in kind of day-to-day nomenclature, you know? I don't even know what nomenclature is, but it sounds like it fit right there. Those inner dimensions, they support each other. They support my life. I am the author of my life. Everyone is the author of their lives. What a great I am that we are. And then the next thing we find out is I'm moving in this world and I'm flowing in this world. So as my feelings are awake and I'm flowing in this world, I am becoming more aware of, okay, the yin and the yang, the Tao, the Bodhisattva who helps to relieve suffering, Kuan Yin. I become more aware of these ancients and modern ways that these inner dimensions are communicated about to tell us that this ability to feel, I feel, supports the I am in expression in this life. And then I do, which means that sometimes in my doing, I can't help but stand up with strength in my doing as an advocate for someone, to show compassion, as empathy, holding someone's hair back while they're over the edge of the boat. Whatever it may be that we're doing in our compassion, there is a strength required to be compassion in action. And that strength supports those feelings, supporting that I am. And that service that each dimension within us, the love, when you stand up for something and someone, somebody else is going to look at that and go, are you standing against me? Now, they don't always. They can feel the compassion deep inside their being, but sometimes we get the idea that people are against, rather than just standing up for what it is that's in their heart to stand up for. And what is in our heart to stand up for is important, and also is where we forgive. It's also where we forgive, where we let go of any hard feelings that happen from misunderstandings, which can occur. So then there's this sacred service of the heart, and the forgiveness and the loving that supports the doing, that supports the feeling, that supports the authorship of our lives. See how all these dimensions, and then we get to the next dimension. Remember what the next dimension is? Throat chakra. We're speaking up in community, saying things like what I'm saying today. Praying that it's a service. Praying that I'm hanging on to all in the past that is worth something to continue, because every time we talk about it, we are continuing, we are creating. So if I'm speaking of something from the past, I'm praying that it's something that's still serving, and serving in a very real way what is being called for in the moment. And if I'm coming up with a new idea, I'm praying that's going to be of service too. That it's a new idea that's serving the many and the all, not just the one, not the few, but the many and the all. And of course that, as we break out into community, as we break out into the spiritual realms that are even higher, as we vision, all of it supports all of it. Now, I mentioned the speaking, and when I speak, it is about freedom of speech, you could say. It's about ringing the bell of freedom for everyone, that we could all, that I can listen to what others are saying and listen openly. My own journey with this particular theme, particular part, dimensionality of my being, recently, was that I could tell I was feeling awkward. I could tell I was feeling nervous. It wasn't today, you guys. Don't think it was today. But recently, I could tell that I was feeling very nervous, and I was feeling like I was trying. And when I'm trying, instead of being centered and doing, I find trying is trying. And so I was chatting with Joe about it, and we were at a restaurant, and he says, "Do you feel pressured?" And it was just the perfect engagement question of having someone there with you. It was just the perfect. It was perfect. And I said, I don't think I feel pressured, but I just feel nervous, and I can almost feel like a facade starting to try to come out. And I'm going, oh my gosh, I'm trying to fill a senior minister, lead minister role, and I don't even know what it is. And so trying to fill something that I didn't even know what it was, I was getting nervous about, and it's new. We know these things, right? We've felt these, we all feel these things in our own way. And so, right at that moment, right after Joe's question, I knew all I have to do is be my genuine and authentic self, be real, be myself, and just do the work. Let it inform me of what's next. And that nervousness and the trying feeling and the temptation to the facade all disappeared. Just and so that was just one moment of freedom coming into me. Just talk about feeling served. You know, the service of this spirit that is our very lives was just present. The next one that serves us as well as vision. So we are serving in community, we listening to our heart, we're standing, up in our doing, and we're feeling, and we're I am that I am signature, unique to each of us. And now we get this vision of what can be. Some of the vision isn't clear yet. But I did have something that came in clear as rain. And it was regarding the library, and it was regarding 4 words, because the direction, the big what direction for the library right now has been on my mind as being self-serve and as being user-friendly. Those are the 2 words that are my guiding light right now. They're my guiding vision. And I'm open if there's a librarian. See, I was thinking self-serve because I was thinking that would be freedom from having to require a librarian. But if there's a librarian who has a different vision, I am listening. I am listening. But this vision that came in on self-serve and user-friendly caused me to think of 4 words that when you enter the library, you could see them. And they would guide you for self-serve and user-friendly. So when you enter the library, you'll see 4 words. Because I've learned that if you get a vision, doesn't matter how big or small it is, stepping with it, doing it is so powerful. Tells the universe, whoa, I like that one, I did that one, okay, what's next? And we're all getting those visions in our own way in our lives, and I know we are, because that's what this dimension, how it serves us. And then there is, I'm pointing at him because it's beauty, and I think he's pretty beautiful. I've always thought he was beautiful. He shines. Does anybody else see the shine? Thank you. He shines. And so that beauty of coming in and being oneself and bringing what you have to bring on a moment's notice. Of course, he was a first responder, law enforcement wise. Beautiful. And then abundance from the universe, the infinite potential and possibility that Angelo so frequently reminded us of. The infinite potential and possibility to be realized, serving us. It's a sacred service that we are all sourced and supplied. And then that 9th, the one we're remembering, that dimension of us that's up here somewhere. I don't even know where it is exactly, but we've got the crown chakra, and then there's 8 and 9, and I don't know if they hang out close or they're stretched to I have no idea, but I know in my heart that infinite potential and possibility is working for us as a sacred service. And I know with all my heart that as I become cleaner and clearer and more awake and more aware, and I would say centered in my being, in this being, everything is holy. Everyone is holy. It's always that way. It's the blinders pulled back or taken off. It's the ears to hear. And I'm grateful for it when I am in full experience and witnessing. Back of the room, hanging right next to Judy's painting, right above the frog box, there's the 7 spiritual practices. Sacred 7. Sacred 7 spiritual practices. And near the bottom is Seva, S-E-V-A, or Seva Anybody know the pronunciation? I know it's in the Eastern Hindu. No? Okay. We'll go with Seva. Through Seva, or spirit or sacred service, we reenact the loving givingness of God and therefore touch on our own divine nature. With this understanding, we evolve from volunteers to sacred servers. We cannot stop being ourselves. Thank God. And you are all, we are all, every human being is magnificent. We don't all know it. We don't all remember all the time. But that will not change that there is sacred service going on within these dimensions of us, for us, through us, as us, all the time. It is truly a joy being on this spiritual journey with you. And John, I see this that I've just shared as an exclamation point to what you shared. It was complete. Namaste.
Thank you, Luana. It was beautiful. Beautiful. Sacred service. It's time for our offertory. And can I ask a couple people to come up and help me with that, please? You guys look so cute. Let's do our offertory's statement, please. Divine love flowing through me blesses and increases all that I give and all that I receive. Thank you, ushers. Thank you all for your
You
contributions.
did call each other, right?
Yeah, we did. We planned it all.
For those on Zoom, I believe all of you know how to give to the PLC if you wish. Simply go to the iFocus and you will find directions, easy directions on how to send a offertory if you like. And thank you all for your commitment to the PLC and keeping us thriving with your givings. I thought you guys left.
We did. And then we came back.
Thank you both.
You're welcome.
We have some announcements this morning as well. First of all, I want to announce that the men's group does meet this Wednesday evening at 6 o'clock right here in the sanctuary. Look forward to seeing you guys then. I want to remind you of our annual business meeting. It's coming up May 4th, right after service. That's for everyone to be able to be here if you can, to find out how things are going with the PLC through your board and minister. And Mary Ann, are you here? You want to come up and talk about which? Okay.
Get closer, how about that?
Okay, you get closer. There you go.
I want to remind people that we're going to have a class, we're going to have a meeting about relationship, love, marriage, all that stuff at noon, right here in the library. So go and get Starbucks or whatever, and come back. I'll see you soon.
All right. Thank you, Mary Ann. Anybody else have an announcement? John?
Well, this next Saturday will be a flute circle at 1:30 for early learners, 2 o'clock for everybody else. And so hope you can make it. I want to just say a brief thing also. You may have noticed that the machinery that is working on digging or rerouting the water line has not moved in several weeks. It was discovered that the trajectory of the boring, and again they're doing this 25 feet under the ground, heading to an area they're going to reroute their water line. They discovered that after the boring, after the beginning of this, that it was headed right towards the fiber optic line that is buried right in the path of where they were going. So the last, I called for an update about a week and a half ago, and they were still working on what the plan will be. The plan was thought to be, they're just going to move the whole operation 10 feet to the right, which would be closer to our building, and start over again. It did not require more trees to be cut down, but it did. They did say it would take longer. We're getting a nice lease amount, so it is not going to hurt us more. When they get done, everything is going to be leveled out and hopefully restored to an even nicer looking area. So yes, this delay isn't particularly negative to us, other than we're going to see those machines there longer. So
wonderful. Thank you, John.
yes.
Thank you, John. Anybody else? Good.
And right after the flute circle, we'll be having the drum circle. It's the second Saturday of every month, so this coming Saturday. And you don't have to have a drum, you don't have to have a rattle, we have those here. It's all about community coming together, ceremony, and it's a form of teaching the directions. And it's an opportunity to connect with your own rhythm, your own inner heartbeat. So come if you will. It starts at 4 o'clock and we end a little after 5 o'clock because I like to talk a lot.
Thank you, Judy. Anybody else? LJ?
Just a reminder about the Sacred Agreements class starting next Sunday. It'll be 11:30 to 1:30. The book is The 4 Agreements, and it is a 5-week course. It is, the actual course itself is 12 weeks, but don't worry. We've got a 5-week portion. We're gonna have a 2-week, maybe in the summer, and then in the fall we'll have another 5-week, and that'll wrap up all the units and hopefully make the time management nice and comfortable. We have 2 classes in April. So it's the 13th and then I think the 27th, if I'm off on the numbers, you'll forgive me, but kind of gets us in the ballpark. 2 in May, not Mother's Day, not Memorial Day, so the ones that are left, and then the first Sunday in June. If you can make those, or most of those, you don't have to make every single one, but if you can make most of those, it'd be great to have you in the class. And it is a Emerson Institute class. So that's that, and then was there something else? I love it when I have more and I can remember them.
Sign up in the back.
Oh yes, sign up is in the back.
There's something else, wasn't there?
There was. I'll think of it after service is over. Thank you. Oh,
That's that.
I'm back.
Almost took out my whole,
Yeah.
my whole thing here. Are you okay?
I am.
Anybody else? Announcements? Okay. It's time for our prayer of protection. Let's say that together, shall we? The light of God surrounds me. The love of God enfolds me. The power of God protects me. The presence of God watches over me. The energy of God is me. Wherever I am, God is. and all is well. Thank you, thank you. Okay, I have a closing song for you, I think. Couple of things come to mind, but I'll do something that's more uplifting, and please clap along if you like. It's that kind of song. I've got peace like a river. I got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. Oh, oh, oh. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river. I got peace like a river. I got peace like a river in my soul. Thank you. I got peace like a river. I got peace like a river. I got peace like a river in my soul. I got joy like a fountain. I got joy like a fountain. I got joy like a fountain in my soul. I got joy like a fountain, joy like a fountain. I got joy like a fountain in my soul. I got love like an ocean. I got love like an ocean. I got love like an ocean in my soul. I got love like an ocean, love like an ocean. I got love like an ocean in my soul. All three. I got peace like a river. I got joy like a fountain. Got love like an ocean in my soul. I got peace and I got joy and I got love like an ocean in my soul. I got peace like a river in my soul. I got peace like a river in my soul. Well, thank you. Before I sang the first song, I was going to remind you how much you paid to get in here, in case you didn't like it.
Now I gotta pay to get out.
My goodness. Reverend Judy,
Yes.
would you give us a praying out? Pray
I'd be happy to.
treatment for us.
We all come together to share that beauty of peace and joy in that river in our souls. We are grateful to have each other. We're grateful to be in the midst of everyone aware clearly of service for being exactly who you are. When we go out into that world, we share that loving, joyful river of kindness, that loving, joyful soul that we each have. Oh.
Thank you, Reverend, very much. Thank you all for being here today. I hope you have a fabulous week, and we'll see you next Sunday. And don't forget about classes coming up, and today with Marianne. So we'll see you soon. Thank you.
Yeah.